Right, we're going live on Hogg's Vlog. Haven't done it since the IPL, I don't think. It's probably been a month and a half, but I have gone away from the long form content and going into the shorter content, just the 1 minute quick videos, just to give my opinions on what's happening around the world and getting your feedback as well. Today, we are talking about franchises versus international cricket because there's a few T20 tournaments that have just been created, one in South Africa, one in the UAE, and they've decided to take on the BBL over here in Australia. Yes, Australia had the market in T20 franchise cricket over the Christmas period. But now CSA and UAE have seen a little bit of an opening in the marketplace and they are challenging Australia. And CSA came out with some good money, but the UAE have really bumped up the prices for players and putting on a little bit of challenge. So let's have a look at some of the talking points that I want to get some of your opinions back here. The IPL teams are spreading. Now, IPL team owners are going into these other tournaments and buying teams. We've already seen the likes of Kolkata Knight Riders buying Trinidad Tobago in the Caribbean League. Now they've purchased a team in the UAE. They did want to get over here in the BBL, but the Cricket Australia wouldn't let them. And now we're seeing other teams really make a play for teams around the globe. Is this a bit of a concern? Are fans going to continue following their teams or those franchise owners in these different tournaments when we see different players playing in the same colours? Is that going to be an issue for you, the fan out there? Is it going to be an issue for the cricket follower as well? I think it's going to be a huge, well, not a huge one, but it's just going to sort of displace the marketplace in certain phases where you see Chennai Super Kings or a KKR franchise have three different teams around the globe, and you think, right, which one should I support? Do I support my IPL team or am I following all of them? And who are the players playing for these franchises? So you lose track of who's actually really in your franchise. Hey, we've got a few guys just joining on. Yes, and I was expecting a little bit of a late come up onto the screens. Kushak, how you going? Stu Pro Gamer, good to see you. We'll get to your questions in a quick second. Right, international players playing half tournaments. Now, this is the second talking point that I really want to get across, and this is probably the main one. What I don't like about all these T20 tournaments coming up around the globe and competing at the same time is that you're seeing some England players putting the name in for the BBL, play half the tournament, then go over to the CSA and finish off there. So they're not really committing to a full season in some of these tournaments. And it's a big worry because at the end of the day, cricket is all about team. It's all about growing a group of players to play together in a tournament, season, year for your country and create that culture. And when you go through those hardships of the season and you have success at the end, you want to celebrate. And also you want your fans to know that you've got a full squad of players for that whole tournament. You don't want to see a lot of chop and change because, again, it's the fan involvement that gets confused. Where is international cricket heading? Can we get that one up, Shubs? That's the final talking point. There's a huge risk that international cricket is going to have a huge change. Do they get rid of one-day international cricket? I think that is getting closer to execution than not. T20 cricket, the bilateral series being played around the world, I think we've got to get rid of them and just play T20 World Cups. Then we can play more T20 competitions around the world, and we've got to keep Test cricket. So if we have these T20 competitions, just play World Cups for internationals in T20 and one-day international cricket, then we've got more time to play T20 tournaments, more time to play Test cricket, and also we can create quality cricket rather than quantity. I think there's just too much quantity out there, not enough quality, And I think the fans are starting to get a little bit restless in that particular scenario. All right, thanks very much for that. How did we get that? Oh, we did that in less than 5 minutes, Shubs. That's great. Shubs is behind the camera there, getting onto it. So, Shubs, let's get the questions up with the fans that we've got here. We've got a few on board. Sahil, how are you going, mate? Thanks for getting on board. Kushik, hi, sir. Does one-day international cricket is getting dull? Hi, sir. Does one? Yes. Look, with T20 cricket and a bit of excitement happening in Test cricket, they're playing more aggressive Test cricket. One-day international cricket, I just think it's starting to fall off the edge a little bit, especially with all the cricket that's being played. We've got too much cricket on the TV screens, not enough quality, and I think something has to give, and I think we're closer to seeing one-day cricket being pushed out to sea, and we probably won't see it again after 2030. So I think the ICC boards around the globe have to make a huge decision. And as I said in the prelude there, we have to concentrate on World Cups and less bilateral series. I think the bilateral series is just too much for the fan out there. So, yes, I agree with you. One-day international cricket's getting dull and it's going onto the back burner. Next question, please, Shubs. Here we go. Stud Pro, Gamer. What you do if you get more money, will you reject to play for your country or you move to play for franchise cricket tournaments? Now, this is a huge issue. It's probably not so much for Australia, India and England because the players there get remunerated quite well. But if you look at teams like New Zealand, West Indies, we've seen it with the West Indies, Bangladesh, we will see top quality players making this move just for the higher value that they're going to get. And this is going to be a huge issue in the development of cricket in these particular regions that lose these particular players, because young kids want to see their heroes. And if they're not playing for their national team, then that's going to drop off into grassroots cricket and we won't see the development of young players coming through. One, that will hurt the international teams that are losing their players to these T20 tournaments, but also in the future for these T20 tournaments, we're going to lose quality players because we don't have enough players around the world to choose from. So those international players playing in these T20 tournaments are going to drop off in quality. So we'll still have plenty of quantity of players, but the quality of players will drop off because you're not seeing the big guns. Just imagine if Babar Azam was playing T20 tournaments all around the world, not playing for Pakistan. All the fans there won't be seeing the best, and it would just drop off with the following of Pakistan cricket. So you want the big names. Kane Williamson for New Zealand as well, not playing Test cricket while the IPL's on. That is hurting the grassroots of New Zealand cricket as well. So we've got to watch that. Good question there, Stud Pro. Love it. Next question, please, Shubs. Hello, Hoggy. Sahil, good to see you. And I like the photo there, mate. That looks like you're out the Adelaide Oval, actually. I remember facing Sean Tate with a brick wall like that behind his arm because they couldn't have a wide enough side screen when he came around the wicket to me. But do you think cricket nowadays is money orientated, therefore more leagues are coming up? Look, this is a big worry for me. Going back when I was a youngster, you grew up having that dream of representing your country and wanting to do right by your country. And I think we went through a period here during those early 2000s, late 1990s, where we just created a quality, strong culture within the Australian framework. And that was Australian cricket team, but also state teams as well. But now that money and T20 tournaments has come in around the globe, you're losing that attraction to create a culture. Players are jumping from one team to another. So you don't create that harmony within a group. You don't create strong cultures, or it's more difficult to create those strong cultures. And it's harder it's going to be tougher moving forward to make sure you have that quality foundation within your international team. So for me, money is starting to play a little bit of havoc on the status of the game, on the foundations of the game. ICC, cricket boards are getting affected, and T20 tournaments. that they're making huge inroads. So we've really got to sit back and go, where do we want our game in 10 years' time? And are we doing the right things by our players' development? I don't mean that on a cricket sense, but on how they value or their values in life. So are we affecting young players coming through where they're more money orientated rather than community orientated? When I say community orientated, team orientated. So we've really got to look at that social aspect of it as well. Just not trying to make as much money as we can, because at the end of the day, sport was created to bring communities together, and right now we're seeing it dissipate, and it's all about young kids getting through. And all right, there's some big bucks up there. I'm telling her there, that's where I'm going. So that's where I'm worried about it. Sahil, that is a very good question. Next question, please, Shubs. I've just hit my microphone there. Shazwat Gupta, how are you going? There is a reason why football is the most successful sport in the world in terms of income. So there is nothing wrong if cricket follows football, where domestic leagues will happen throughout. Look, Shazwat, I agree with you. But with the football model, yeah, there's chop and change with players. They've been transferred with transfer costs. So there's trading periods within that. But at the core of it, football teams have a good core of players which can create a culture in that environment. And you still got to build a quality team, and you can have a quality team over a long period of time. And then when it comes to international football, that's when all the best players come from all the leagues around the world, join up, get a training session together, try and create a culture over a month before a World Cup or soccer being played in the Olympics, and then they go out and represent their country. I don't mind that football model, but football has been doing it for a long period of time. Cricket right now is going through a huge change, and cricket boards haven't been able to adapt quick enough, and the ICC haven't been able to adapt quick enough. And I think we need more dialogue between franchise owners, T20 tournaments around the world, boards, ICC cricket, to make sure we sit down and we get the right model and have that success that football has. Otherwise, we'll lose the impetus and the following of cricket. So we've got to make sure we make strong decisions leading forward and thinking about where the game should be in 2030 for you, the fan out there, and for the younger player coming through as well. So we've got to make sure we make those right decisions. And that's a great comparison there, Shazwat. Not going to disagree with you in that opinion. Great stuff, mate. And thanks very much for following me. Next question, please, Shubs. Stud Pro again. One day Test cricket, T20, which you will play and why? You have to choose only one. For me, it will be about Test cricket. I think that is the ultimate. It's the test of everything that you value in your life. It tests your mental skills, your tactical skills, your technical skills, but also it tests you as a player, how you communicate with your teammates, fellow teammates, how you value mateship. So for me, you go over 5 days, it tests your endurance. It also tests your speed as well. But more importantly, how you value your teammates out in the middle, so that you, in those tough moments over a 5-day period, you get together, you lift, and you get over those hurdles. It's a bit like life Test cricket. You have all these huge ups and downs through a Test match, and through that wave, you want to try and get as consistent as you possibly can. In T20 matches, you have a bad night, you can come back in a couple of days and then have a good night. There's no, what I mean by that, when I say ups and downs, you're not being tested to get back into the contest at that particular moment, because in 2 days' time, you can turn things around. But in a Test match, everything's on the line. If you don't win that Test match, and you don't adapt to those ups and downs, you can lose a Test match just like that, because of your attitude. That's why I'd go Test cricket. Stu Pro, that is a very, very good question. One day international cricket, actually, I'd like to say that, because I was fortunate enough to play in two campaigns for Australia where we won 2 World Cups. But at the end of the day, one day cricket's not the biggest test for me, because I could put the field out as a bowler. and I could put the pressure on, prevent batsmen from hitting boundaries. Whereas in Test cricket, I've got to bring the field in. I've got to keep the pressure on. I've got to find a way to get the batsman out. Whereas going back to one day cricket, the field out, it's more so the batsman making the mistake rather than me having to chase the wicket. So that's another reason why I'd play Test cricket over the shorter formats of the game. Great question, mate. You choose only one. Test cricket for me. Next question, please, Shubs. Adele Moore, how are you going, mate? Hi, do you think that one-day international cricket is the link between Test and T20 cricket? If one-days are affected, do you think that translation from T20 to Test will become more and more difficult? Look, that's meant to be transition. A little bit of a typo there. Don't worry about that, Adil. For me, we saw David Warner transition from T20 cricket to Test cricket. It's able to be done. I think we've still got Test cricketers. Your top 4 or top 3 batsmen in Test cricket teams are more of those conventional players which just drop and run, wear the bowling down. But what we're seeing in the middle order, we're seeing a couple of players come in that have got T20 backgrounds that are taking the game on. And that's what England are doing right now with Bairstow and Stokes in the middle order. They're playing that aggressive game, which I like, because you're trying to set the game up for your bowlers to take 20 wickets. If you don't take 20 wickets in a Test match, you don't win. So you've got to give your bowlers as much time. So you need those batsmen which wear the opposition bowlers down, and then it makes it easier for those more aggressive batsmen when the ball's not doing as much to take the bowling on and wear it down. And that's why I love Test cricket. One-day international cricket, I've been hearing Ravi Shastri, Atherton on Sky Sports over in England discuss it. I think one-day international cricket still can be played, but this is more in the countries that are developing and wanting to make their mark in T20 cricket, because you still need longer form cricket to develop your skills. So for me, in those associate nations, I think we can still have a one-day international competition there. But when we come to the top 6, top 8 Test playing nations, I think we can scrap one-day international cricket, just play it in a World Cup scenario every 3 years, but concentrate on Test cricket. Very good question there, Adil. Thanks very much for that. That's a good question. I don't, T20 transitions to Test cricket. I don't think it's that bad now. Candival Sanjay. Hey, Hoggy. Will extended window of IPL next year affect the international schedule? It definitely will. And the players' availability. And also, what are your thoughts whether players should choose money or their country? This is a big question right now, and it's a changing dynamic. I know that the players that when I was coming through playing for Australia, they would choose their country over the money of the IPL. They'd put that first, but we've got a bit of a changing dynamic. But in saying that, I'm from a country of Australia where we've got more money to be able to pay the players. When you're looking at New Zealand, Sri Lanka, West Indies, if you've got that opportunity to set your family up and you're not getting paid enough in those countries to set your family up or help your family survive, or you can buy a house and get things on track in that scenario in a financial sense, then I might have a different aspect. So I've got to put my mind into how I'd feel if I was in a country where I wasn't getting paid enough to be able to set my life up. So that's probably where my values might change, and there might be a time there where I try and play for my country for a couple of years, but I'll pull the pin on my country a little earlier and then go and play those IPL tournaments. So that's a different perspective there. But the IPL moving out, we'll go back to that. The international schedule is going to be affected. Players' availability is going to be tested, and we are going to see a lot of players having to choose whether they value their country more or the cashola. So that's a big one. But the other thing with that is, what do boards do with their players? How do they operate with their players, letting them go and play the IPL instead of playing for their country? England have done it quite well at the moment, but if they get stuck with the Test series, That's where the big issue is, because Test cricket in England's more important than the white ball format. With the white ball format, with these bilateral series, you can play players just to give them an opportunity at international level. But in the Test game, you want your best team. So that's probably the issue with players' availability is more in the Test arena than the white ball arena. Good question there, Candavel. I love that. I'm loving these questions, Shubs. They're really making me think. So let's get on to the next ones, please, mate. Vinod Kaka. Kaka, that sounds like a famous soccer player from Brazil. Do you think sooner or later ICC FTP schedules for international bilateral cricket series will be badly affected by so many leagues? Definitely. And this is where the ICC have got to sit down with the cricket boards and the players as well, and also get fans' input and try and work out what is important for you, the viewer out there. What's important for the players to make sure they're playing the best quality cricket that they possibly can every time they go out in the middle, so that we entertain. And for me, I agree with the comments that have been thrown around from ex-players. I think we've got to get rid of bilateral series in the white ball formats, just concentrate on World Cups. So we've got a World Test Championship final 1 year. The next year we might have a one-day international World Cup, and the following year a T20 World Cup, and just concentrate on our Test cricket at an international level, and making sure that all countries are able to get a quality T20 competition going, so that they can still financially support themselves and take the pressure off the finances from the ICC. So I think there's got to be a little bit of give and take in there. So there's a lot of talk to be done, and a lot of challenges in all the boards and countries working together so that everyone benefits, and we don't lose those grassroots cricketers coming through that are going to be the next Virat Kohlis, Babar Azams, Kane Williamson, Steve Smiths, Pat Cummins. So that's what we've got to look at. Good question there, Vinod. Next question, please, Shubs. Hayden Mollenkamp. How are you going, Hayden? Sunrisers Hyderabad. Hopefully they do a bit better next year. Should countries play more trilateral series? I love watching them, but they're not very common. Well, yeah, look, I'd love to have the trilateral series being played. I think if we didn't have T20 tournaments going on like they are around the world, putting pressure on the international schedule, I think that would be the way to go. But at the moment, franchise owners want good bang for their buck. They want to get they want to be able to market their product, advertise it, and get good revenue return on their investment. So that's going to play a lot of pressure on bilateral series and trilateral series. So I don't think we're going to see trilateral series. I think they're done and dusted right now. And I think we're going to see a lot less bilateral series. But I agree with you. The trilateral series, while I was around, were the best ones to play in, because you still, you had something to play for at the end of the tournament. You had to get into that final series. If you didn't perform throughout the tournament and you missed out at the back end there, you're very disappointed. So I agree with you, but I'm sad to say I don't think they're going to be down there in the near future. And the only way you can get a trilateral series, I had a calendar there going, is you have a test series between two nations. So England come over to Australia, then you have a trilateral series of white ball cricket, and then India play Australia following that white ball series in a test series. So then you're having less travel commitments. Teams aren't having to go back and forth, and you're getting more bang for your buck with a lot more cricket played in a condensed period. But that's a very good question, mate. I love it. Okay, that's all we've got for us today, and I hope you've really enjoyed it. Thanks for getting on board. I'm going to be on live every second week right now, just to do something and keep in touch with you, the fans out there. So make sure when we move forward, you get some good quality questions coming forward to me, and chirp in. what you want me to talk about, because there's so much happening in the world of cricket, and I don't mind going down to the controversial route and talking about anything that's happening in the world of cricket, and we can talk about other things as well that's happening in your life. But thanks again for joining me. Have a great day, and keep enjoying the cricket that's being played around the globe right now. And I hope your team's having success. Thanks, guys.